אני משלמת לך משכורת.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to the call. This is going to be exciting. We're excited to have
Hey,
you on.
how are you? This is
Hey,
your
Levi,
brother.
how's it going? Good to see you.
Good to see you. We missed you, Andrew.
I know I should be back soon.
When?
Nothing planned right now, but hopefully in the next few months.
Okay, we need handling a strong hand.
Hey, good to see everybody. Hey, Deb, how's it going? Hey, we'll give people another 30 seconds to hop on, and then we'll go ahead and kick off the call.
Csinálj a betűket, jó? Te rajzolsz, nem én.
Oh, and he passed.
Okay, let's go ahead and start. Thanks everybody who's joined. Make sure to send a message to your teams along with the link that you guys have so that we can
Ah,
get more people on this call. But if it's too late where your teams are living right now and they're not awake, then just know that we are recording this call and we'll be able to send that out later. So we're super excited to be joined today by Alex DaBell. So for those of you who were with us during the grand opening last year that we had, you would recognize his face because he spoke on stage and helped us launch our Lifelong Vitality Pack, as well as a couple other oils that we brought into the UAE last spring. So we're really excited to have Alex back to do some follow-up and continue the education for Lifelong Vitality Pack. It's definitely one of our key products in doTERRA. It's part of what we call foundational wellness and something that's essential to have in your daily routine, just as you would have the oils, LLV is a non-negotiable. So taking that every day is going to help your energy, your vitality, all of the different things that you can think of to be able to supplement the lack of nutrients that a lot of us have because even if we're eating healthy, a lot of the basic macronutrition foods that we're eating lack those vitamins and minerals that are key to help us living a healthy life. So for living for honestly 2 decades, Alex has been at the forefront of designing and developing premium nutraceutical products and collaborating with experts globally, traveling the world, going to our global experts' plants and facilities, and literally setting new standards in the industry with nutraceuticals and innovation. So Alex is the vice president of global nutraceuticals. He's got a lot of different degrees in science and biology. And Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, you're either working or you just finished your PhD in molecular biology, right?
Yeah, we're just finishing a clinical trial on looking at the biochemical response of certain nutrients. So more to come on that when we write that all up and finish up. Yep.
Amazing. Would love to hear it. So you're going to hopefully hear from Alex as we continue to grow in the UAE market. We'll continue to have experts on these calls that are experts in their own fields, whether it's nutritionals or essential oils or any of the health and skincare products. We want to continue to educate the field and empower you as leaders and customers so that you know how to take care of your health and wellness on a day-to-day basis. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Alex to kick us off. Again, feel free to continue to send out this link so that we can get as many people as possible to join this. But with that, we'll go ahead and turn the time over to you. Thanks again, Alex.
Thank you, Andrew. And it's fun to see several people on the call that I recognize, and it's always good to connect with people, even if it's been some time. So I'm happy to join the call. I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully I can um, get this set up so we can see some of the lifelong vitality slides. All right. Can you guys see that?
Looks good.
I'll stretch it out there. If I share it in presenter mode, then it won't then I can't see you guys at all. So I lose the visibility there, but hopefully you can see. So we're talking about the ABCs of lifelong vitality. As Andrew mentioned, we've got a lot of amazing products at doTERRA. I love to talk about all of them. I've shared this, it feels a little bit like children in the sense that you spend a lot of time with these products and you grow to love them and appreciate them. And so um, we don't really have favorite children, and maybe we don't have favorite products so much, but if I did, these definitely would be some of my favorite products, and I'll tell you why. And they really do represent an incredible value proposition and return on investment for what we're trying to achieve in our health and wellness. And I'm going to talk about the science of these products, but really the why of these products. Why do we offer these products, and why are we using them? So this, I like to also introduce a little bit about myself. This is my family. I've got 4 kids. My wife and I have 4 children, and we love to be outside. And I share with people that they are kind of my why for what I'm doing and why I want to be healthy and have a vibrant life. So they keep me going, and I hope that each of us has a why, a greater reason for um, what we're doing in our lives. And it certainly adds a lot of depth and meaning to who we are. So this is doTERRA's wellness pyramid. This is the scaffolding. Really, it's the decision-making structure, I guess, of a lot of products that we offer. But we highlight on this slide also one of the key points is our lifestyle choices. We, of course, offer amazing products that are designed to interact with the cells of our bodies, the different tissues and organ systems of our bodies to support our health outcomes. But at the same time, we need to be using these products with healthy lifestyle choices. So we say we don't offer magic bullets. Um, we offer amazing products that should be combined with good lifestyle choices. And we've highlighted some of these lifestyle choices on each layer of the pyramid. So you can see the types of things that we should be doing each and every day. And at the base of the pyramid, we have nutrition and digestion. And as I was looking at this, in this the depiction of the Dubai landscape, the skyline in Dubai, and of course, is well known for some incredibly amazing buildings all throughout Dubai. And the reality is, none of these buildings would be able to reach to the sky and be stable without a strong foundation. The wind would come, the wind would blow, and it would topple the buildings if they weren't rooted with a strong foundation. And it's the same way in our lives. Um, we need to have a base of a strong foundation, and is really centered in nutrition and digestion, as Andrew mentioned at the beginning. There are important nutrients and other types of compounds that we'll get into that we acquire from our environment. We consume these in the foods that we eat, in the products that we use, and they become part of us. And we're able to take advantage of those natural gifts to really support our health and wellness and help us to rise up just like these buildings. So today we're talking about the base of the pyramid, the nutrition and the digestion foundation, and we'll discuss why that's the foundation. Why is that not 3 or 4 or 5 levels up? Why is it so important to start there? Everyone, every day, this is where we begin. And we really can't skip that level. So the Lifelong Vitality Pack, this is why this product was designed and developed really to support the base of the pyramid and the base of our health and wellness pyramid in each of our own lives. Back when doTERRA was first beginning, back in 2008, there was a ready acknowledgement that we needed this kind of a product offering to bring to people to help support the base and get everybody on a healthy playing field. And so these three products together comprise Lifelong Vitality, Alpha CRS, Microplex VMZ, and Z Omega. They're each distinct. They each have their own benefits, their unique formula, and unique science that they bring. And we'll go through some of those details about why these are indispensable products. They're really non-negotiables for us. That's why we put them in the base of the pyramid. And really, it shouldn't be a question of whether or not people need to be using a product like Lifelong Vitality. It is designed for everyone every day. We have targeted health solutions that are up further in the pyramid that are designed to support specific needs that maybe not everybody has. But this type of a product offering is designed for everybody. So what are some of the key benefits? We'll get into the ingredients and the science of how these nutrients work. But when we look at the product at first at the high level, we might recognize some key benefits for Microplex, Alpha CRS, and Z Omega. As Andrew mentioned, we have macronutrients, we have micronutrients, and Microplex is really our complex of micronutrients. So the name has some knowledge built into it, right, about what the product is providing. It's complex of micronutrients. And the Z, we've got, of course, digestive enzymes that are included in this complex as well. And each of these micronutrients serves as an important cofactor for different process that's happening inside of our bodies. The second product in this slide, we have Alpha CRS. Now, Alpha CRS is composed of two different blends. We have a cellular energy blend and a cellular longevity blend. And the common focus there is the cellular health. The ingredients of Alpha CRS are designed to support our cellular health. And we'll discuss some of the mechanisms involved in that when we get to that product. And Z Omega, we mentioned this is structure. So what about the structure of our cells? How are we supporting the structure and the function of our cells with the nutrients in Z Omega? Is known especially for the fatty acids that are part of Z Omega. And we'll discuss why that's so important. Each of these products contains standardized nutrient forms that are selected for their impact in different areas of the body. When we combine these three products together, at, the base of the wellness pyramid, it's really touching all of our different body systems. We have cell types and tissue types and organs and organ systems that are all benefited throughout the body because of these different nutrients in Lifelong Vitality. There are literally hundreds of approved health claims from the different nutrient types that we supply in Lifelong Vitality. And so when you look at a value proposition, you look at return on investment. Maybe you're not going to use every single product, but if you're looking for a product that provides maximum return, lifelong vitality falls right into that place, supporting all these different body systems, organ systems, and we really can't go without this and not face consequences. So when I talk about lifelong vitality, um, we think about supporting the body, and we think about what are our bodies for? They certainly they carry us around um, in wherever we're going, wherever we're headed. Really, this is our vehicle for life, our body. And I like to share this story from Warren Buffett. You're probably familiar with Warren Buffett. He's a well-known, world-renowned investor. He's a philanthropist. He's a great business mind, and he's now been focused on imparting some of his wisdom and experience that he's gained through life to others. So he likes to visit with younger um, populations, and one of the things he brings up frequently when he visits with college age students, you'd think that he is talking about business, um, but he likes to uh, give wisdom, from all of his life experience. So he talks about not just business, but taking care of ourselves. And one of the analogies he likes to share is, he asks the student, what if you could have any car of your choosing, any color, any make, any model, doesn't matter, and you could have this car for free. And the only catch is that it would be the only vehicle you'd ever have for your entire life. And then he proceeds to ask those students, if that was the case, how would they be proactive about taking care of that vehicle? They would certainly make sure that they rotated the tires. They'd make sure that the oil was changed and that they were taking care of the routine maintenance with spark plugs or timing belts or any other things that the car needed to function optimally and to get the maximum lifespan out of that car. And then he reminds the students that, of course, we may have multiple vehicles in our lives, but we'll only ever actually have one body and one mind. And how important it is to be proactive about taking care of this vehicle that we have, our body and our mind, in a proactive sense, that we avoid any issues um, before they become major problems. So one of the ways that we can do this is by making sure that we have adequate nutrients in our body to support these different biochemical processes that are going on inside each of our bodies all the time. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about microplex. What is microplex? Why do we have it? How does it work? And there's a well-known nutritional biochemist by the name of Bruce Ames, and he developed this theory of the triage age, the triage theory of aging and disease. Now the aging and disease, these are things that happen slowly over time, and the theory goes that, which I don't know that it's really a theory anymore. I think it's pretty well established that if different tissue types throughout our body are deficient in certain nutrients, then we will be contributing to the development of disease states, and we'll be accelerating the aging process. And so one of the easiest ways then, of course, to push back on this accelerated aging and the development of disease states is to make sure that we aren't deficient in these nutrients. And one of the easiest ways for us to ensure that we aren't deficient in these nutrients is to be using a product like Lifelong Vitality. Another, kind of playing off of the return on investment analogy from Warren Buffett. The World Bank, really 30 years ago now, established an analysis on the importance of micronutrient deficiencies in developing populations all around the world, and simply acknowledge that the control of vitamin and mineral deficiencies is one of the most extraordinary development-related scientific advances of recent years, and that no other technology presents such a large opportunity to improve lives at such a low cost. And when you think about it, the World Bank, an organization like the World Bank, they're involved in evaluating return on investment. They're allocating capital to different areas, and for them to acknowledge this important, health component, that if we can simply ensure that people all around the world are not deficient in these nutrients, then you'll have one of the most um, efficient, highest returns on investment in improving lives and development outcomes of populations all around the world. And of course, they're speaking in at the population level, but this applies to each and every one of us, right? Societies are made up of individuals, and this applies to each and every one of us. That if we can make sure that our nutrient needs don't outweigh don't outweigh our nutrient availability, then we won't be contributing to this triage theory of aging and disease. We won't be accelerating the aging process. We won't be accelerating the development of disease states. And we can all benefit from that, of course. So, what are the nutrients that we have in Microplex? We've got all of the letter vitamins. We've got the minerals in their highly bioavailable forms, chelated minerals. We've got whole foods blend that's included along with the enzyme blend for nutrient assimilation. I want to describe that a little bit. Andrew highlighted at the beginning that we have macronutrients, we have micronutrients. Macronutrients are those types of um, categories of nutrients, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates that we're all familiar with. These are listed on the labels of products, for example. And these are broken down. They're called macronutrients because they're too big to absorb. We need to digest them to be able to absorb them. And so we've included in Microplex an active enzyme blend, and it's composed of proteases that break down proteins. It has lipase that breaks down fats. And then we have, of course, lactase, which you're familiar with lactose, which comes from milk. Lactase breaks down the lactose milk sugar. We have amylase and cellulase, which are involved in the digestion of carbohydrates as well. So combined with the whole foods blend, the active enzyme blend now is able to break down macronutrients combined with the micronutrients of Microplex and the whole foods blend to aid in the absorption of these nutrients into through our gut lining and into our bloodstream to be able to be incorporated into our cells. We've also recognized that sometimes when people use products like this, they have some digestive upset. So we've included our carminative blend, our tummy tamer blend that includes peppermint, ginger, and caraway. We, of course, recognize these essential oil sources as calming and soothing to the stomach. And so we've included these botanicals in the Microplex product as well. When we look at the vitamins and minerals listed here, this is a comprehensive list of vitamins and minerals, and we'll discuss the role of these nutrients as cofactors in different biochemical reactions and different cellular processes. But the B vitamins, for example, are helping to produce energy. We have antioxidant enzymes or vitamins in vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A. Our vitamin D is also known as a prohormone. Vitamin D3 is involved in production of many different hormones in the body. And so if we don't have adequate vitamin D stores, then we can be deficient in our production of different hormones downstream. Vitamin K, of course, is involved in cardiovascular health, in the deposition of calcium in the bones instead of the arteries, and also helping with different proteins involved in our blood clotting, that we have good consistency, viscosity, and function in our blood. when we think of minerals, often we think of structure, but we should also be thinking of different enzyme reactions. Calcium, magnesium, of course, are important for bone structure, but we recognize magnesium and its importance in the brain. We recognize the importance of iron in our blood in helping to transport oxygen all throughout our body. When we think of iodine, we probably think of our thyroid support. We might think of selenium and zinc in DNA health, in the expression of different genes, or perhaps in our immune cells. Zinc is an important immune nutrient. And so in our microplex formula, we've included all these micronutrients to support a number of different cellular processes and different types of reactions. Here I've listed some of these. How are these nutrients considered cofactors? What are they involved in? Chromium, I didn't mention. We talk a lot about the importance of metabolic health. There are so many different health challenges that people are dealing with because of poor metabolic health. This is sometimes referred to as metabolic syndrome. And one of the primary challenges that people deal with in metabolic syndrome is controlling their blood sugar levels. Chromium is an important micronutrient and a mineral that helps with our insulin sensitivity in controlling our blood sugar. So we wanted to make sure that people are getting the chromium that they need as well. Now let's go to one of the next products in lifelong vitality is Z omega, XZ omega, sometimes people say. This, just like Microplex, this product has a lot of information built into its name. So the X in Z omega is in reference to the astaxanthin in this product. Astaxanthin is a carotenoid, and we'll talk about what that kind of a compound, from a botanical source is involved in. And then the EO we've got is, of course, reference to the essential oils, and the mega is referring to the omega-3 fatty acids that are also in this product. But omega-3 fatty acids are actually one of the most studied nutrient types in history. In the top 4 nutrient types, interestingly enough, there have been more than 40,000 different publications on the health benefits of omega-3 fatty acids. So it's beyond question. It's beyond theory or hypothesis. It's very well established that omega-3 fatty acids are one of the best nutrients that we can be consuming. So we provide a balanced ratio of EPA and DHA in Z omega, and these fatty acids are supporting, of course, our brain health. We recognize that our brain is composed mostly of fat. The cells, the neurons in our brain, DHA is primarily found in the brain, the DHA fatty acid. And then, of course, omega-3 fatty acids are also recognized for their importance in cardiovascular health. When we think of all of those different publications on the health benefits of omega-3 fatty acids, many, many, many of those publications are related to cardiovascular health with topics such as triglyceride levels, blood pressure levels, heart rate. All of these parameters are benefited by omega-3 fatty acid consumption. And then our joint health, our skin health, these are areas of our body that get a lot of wear and tear. And when we have these healthy fats from Z omega, they help to support those different tissue types as well. Inflammation is something that is found all throughout our bodies. And the better we can be about regulating inflammation and helping to ensure that it's a healthy inflammatory response, such as an immune response, and not uncontrolled systemic inflammation, the better off we will be with our long-term health outcomes. And so omega-3 fatty acids help to regulate that inflammatory response. They're actually anti-inflammatory compounds. These healthy fatty acids are anti-inflammatory, and so consuming them also supports our inflammatory response. Now, what about this formula is unique? There's quite a bit that's unique about it. Of course, the omega-3 fatty acids serve as the backbone of the product. We've got EPA and DHA, which are the most widely recognized coming from fish oil, but we also have the lesser recognized DHA from fish oil, and we have stearidonic acid, which is also coming from these ahi flower, which is a botanical source of fatty acids. We have pomegranate, um, providing penicic acid, and then we have fat soluble vitamins. You'll recognize vitamins A, D, E, beta carotene, the carotenoids. These are all fat soluble vitamins. So it makes a lot of sense that we would include these in um, this omega-3 fatty acid product. Um, Essential oils, of course, are also lipophilic, fat soluble, and we've included this blend of essential oils in Z Omega to provide their unique chemistry. Um, Omega-3 fatty acids are long chain carbon chains with a glycerol backbone. Uh, so they're referred to as triglycerides. You have three chains of fatty acids attached to a glycerol backbone. And in addition, with these other carotenoids are also larger compounds that are produced by plants. They're actually some of the most interesting compounds, I think, most effective antioxidants produced in nature. The way that these plants, you recognize tomato, algae, marigold, these are all producing carotenoids. They oftentimes produce these compounds as a protective mechanism against ultraviolet radiation. So when these algae, for example, are exposed to ultraviolet radiation and the health of their cells are challenged by this ultraviolet light, the cells will produce astaxanthin as a protective mechanism. And then we're able to take advantage of that astaxanthin production from algae and include that in Z omega, which provides all that antioxidant capacity. Some of these fat soluble nutrients are not the most bioavailable on their own. So including these essential oils, this essential oil blend in Z omega improves the bioavailability of these fat soluble nutrients, and that's one of the advantages of providing this botanic or this essential oil blend, and the unique chemistry that comes from it is that we see a greater uptake of these lipophilic compounds in Z omega when delivered with the essential oils in this product. Now, what about some of the more recent research? I mentioned that omega-3 fatty acids are one of the top 4 nutrients ever studied. There are more than 40,000 publications. And one of these recent publications talks about the benefits of supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids in helping to stave off or prevent dementia. And this is not, a group of 5 participants. This is looking at a biobank of more than 200,000 participants. So it's a very, very large study. It's very, very conclusive in demonstrating that when you have a higher blood level of omega-3 fatty acids, you have a much lower risk of developing dementia. One of the primary concerns that people have as they age is starting to lose their cognitive capacity and their memory and experiencing challenges with dementia or other cognitive related health concerns. And so one of the things we can do proactively is to make sure that we keep those omega-3 fatty acid levels high in the blood. Back to the analogy about Warren Buffett and the vehicle. Imagine if we never rotated the tires on our vehicle, or we never changed the oil in our vehicle. And you could do this for quite a while, and you wouldn't notice the negative impacts, right? The tires would start to wear unevenly over time, and the engine would start to break down a little bit, and you probably wouldn't notice it for a while. But by the time you did notice it, the damage would be done. and the tires would have worn unevenly. And this is why proactive maintenance is so important, because a lot of different body systems, um, we are resilient. We can make do for quite a while, and we can compromise or this triage theory of aging and disease. We can figure things out in the short term with filling gaps. But over time, when you have these deficiencies, things start to break down, and it becomes very hard to correct for those deficiencies. And this is why prevention is so important, because, as we say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And if we can get ahead of these challenges before they really progress and turn into much bigger challenges, then we're far better off. And this is one of the reasons lifelong vitality presents such an incredible value proposition and a great return on investment, is because we're supporting these body systems for so long. Now, just a reminder for Z omega and how the nutrients of Z omega are supporting our cellular health, how they're supporting because they're supporting our cellular health, they're supporting our tissue, our organ health. We are supplying these healthy fats, which are important for cell membrane health. When you think of a cell membrane, you can think of a sphere, like a ball. And one of the important parameters of this sphere, this cell membrane, to function properly, is that it needs to be fluid. It needs to be able to flex. It's full of different proteins and receptors that are so critical to how that cell interacts with other cells, being able to endocytose and exocytose, or take in or excrete different proteins and different messenger molecules. If the cell membrane is not healthy, if it's not fluid, then you have a compromised cell. And if you have too many of those, then that becomes a health challenge. We talk about how can we maintain the integrity, the structural integrity of a cell. And one of the ways is by preventing oxidative stress, which we'll talk about with alpha CRS as well. But the carotenoids in Z omega are great antioxidant compounds. And then, of course, the essential oil blend, which aids in these other nutrient absorption. And beyond just increasing the bioavailability, each of these essential oils brings its own unique chemistry. We talked about essential oil constituent chemistry and the benefits that come from those. So we don't want to downplay the importance of those essential oils in the product as well. Let's talk a little bit about alpha CRS. Alpha CRS is one of the it's a more unique product in lifelong vitality. A lot of other products in the marketplace have vitamins and minerals or fatty acids, but this alpha CRS is kind of more unique in the positioning and also the nutrient types that are included here. It's composed of two different blends, the cellular longevity blend and the cellular energy blend. And both of those blends begin with the term cellular. And alpha CRS is focused on supporting cellular health. And I'll describe, how that is, why that is, when we get into some of the botanical extracts that are included in the product. But here you can see all of these different standardized botanical nutrients that are included in alpha CRS. And each of these botanical extracts has their own story. If you look back through history, you can understand why people have placed great value on these different types of nutrients provide. And their unique structure with all the different hydroxyl groups, the OH, this is characteristic of a polyphenol. When you have many phenol groups, these compounds are able to donate electrons. And when they can donate electrons, they can neutralize free radicals. And that's one of the primary ways that alpha CRS is able to support cellular health. So we'll talk a little bit about some of these different nutrients. So in the process here with alpha CRS, in supporting cellular health, you might wonder, well, how does it support cellular health? So let's talk about this structure of a cell. A cell is the smallest living compartment. Like think of it as a little tiny living organism, and we have many, many, many different types of cells. We have many different cells, together. Each one of us is composed of cells. But it's important for these cells that if the membrane and the organelles, the little components of the cell, to not be damaged. When they're damaged, they don't function as well. So you're probably familiar, you've heard of different organelles or components of a cell, such as mitochondria, or the nucleus, or the endoplasmic reticula, or the Golgi apparatus. There are different components of the cell, and they each have a specific role to perform. And then the cell membrane on the outside. Well, one of the challenges is that these different pieces of a cell can be damaged. And one of the ways that they're damaged is from the outside. So the different types of um, um, threats or different items from our environment that can damage a cell. So things like pollution, different chemicals or compounds or ultraviolet radiation, those types of things that our cells shouldn't be exposed to. When they are exposed to them, they can be damaged. And then so this is the external factors that can damage our cells. But then inside of our bodies, we also have different factors that can damage our cells. So we think of when we eat food, when we digest food, it's kind of a violent process, actually. You have different hydrolysis going on, different enzyme reactions, digestive enzymes breaking things down. You have large macronutrients that are digested and broken up into smaller micronutrients. And this process is a little bit violent, and it can actually create free radicals. Free radicals are compounds that are unbalanced. They're characterized as radicals because they have an unbalanced electron that can go and cause damage to our cells, to the different components of our cell. So one of the ways we can neutralize a free radical is to balance the electron pair. And I have some pictures that'll show kind of what this means. But we want to make sure that our cellular health, the structure of our cells, is maintained and not damaged. When we have ultraviolet radiation, for example, if that's not mitigated, then we can have DNA breaks. So in our strand of DNA, we can have a break in that DNA, which means that at least for that molecule of DNA, we aren't able to express a gene properly and produce a protein properly, for example. So that's one example of how cellular damage can negatively impact us. So a little bit more about this free radicals and oxidative stress problem. And this is really a universal problem. We don't avoid this. When we exercise, for example, we all agree that exercise is healthy for us. But exercise is also hard on our bodies. We generate free radicals. When we eat food, we generate free radicals. Simply being alive is to generate free radicals, but we can do things. We can make healthy lifestyle choices. We can consume these natural gifts of the earth to help mitigate that problem. When you have a stable molecule here, which you can see on the left-hand side there, we have a balance of electrons. When you don't have a balance of electrons, either you're missing an electron in one of these concentric rings, you have an unbalanced molecule, and it wants to be balanced. So it will look to steal an electron from another stable cell type or compound molecule. So some examples that we see, we're all familiar with this. If you have fresh food, for example, fruit or vegetables, you can see these start to oxidize over time. When they oxidize, they change colors, they start to wither, they break down This isn't simply dehydration, for example. You actually have chemical reactions that are happening as a result of oxidative stress. And this is a nice example of what kind of depiction of the same type of reactions that can be going on inside of our bodies if we aren't mitigating that oxidative stress. So how can we mitigate this oxidative stress? So we talk about antioxidants, antioxidant. These are compounds in nature, like carotenoids, for example, that have extra electrons that they can donate. So when you have an unpaired electron in a molecule, and that's where you have a free radical. When you have an antioxidant that has an extra electron that it can donate, then it can balance a free radical and make it become neutralized or a healthy cell. And then it's no longer causing damage. It's no longer wanting to steal electrons from DNA and cause damage, or from a cell membrane and cause damage, or from a mitochondria causing damage. So if we can consume all these antioxidant nutrients, then we make sure that the oxidative stress levels of our cells is lower. And this reduces the wear and tear on our cells. And again, this triage theory of aging and disease, we can push back on that health concern. So what are some of the types of antioxidants or the enzymes in our bodies, the free radicals? So we have superoxides, we have peroxides, and hydroxyl free radicals. That all they have a very high desire to steal electrons. These are highly reactive free radicals, and our body is equipped with endogenous. We call it endogenous are those enzymes inside of our bodies, which are made specifically to neutralize free radicals. These are endogenous antioxidant enzymes. We also have, from our diet, of course, from our alpha CRS in this case, or from the healthy diet that we're following, we are consuming dietary polyphenols or antioxidant compounds that also help to neutralize these free radicals. So what are these nutrients that we're talking about in alpha CRS? We've got all these botanical nutrients, and each one of these we could do kind of a little mini series on the benefits of, boswellia or milk thistle in supporting the liver health or supporting the inflammatory response. What they have in common, though, as polyphenols, is this reactive phenolic group that can donate an electron and neutralize a free radical. So we've included a number of different types of polyphenols because the chemistry provides the benefit. So having a wide complement of different chemistry provides broad spectrum benefits. And we see this with our essential oil chemistry as well. It's not only one constituent from an essential oil, it's the whole fingerprint. So in a similar way, we provide a diversity of chemistry from these botanical extracts in alpha CRS. And you can see here, some of these are more geared towards supporting different tissue types. They've been studied in supporting cardiovascular health, immune health. We look at pine bark, for example, or turmeric. We're all familiar with turmeric and the curcumin or curcuminoid content from turmeric and its involvement in healthy inflammatory response. We may be familiar with sesame seed, for example, in oxidative stress or cardiovascular support as well. But needless to say, all of these different nutrient types we've included, or botanical extracts we've included in alpha CRS to support the cellular health. Now we have this energy blend. So the cellular longevity blend is primarily botanical extracts. The cellular energy blend is cofactors for our mitochondrial health. We recognize mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. So the powerhouse of the cell, think of it like a power plant. We have food or glucose that comes into the cell, or we have fat that is oxidized inside of mitochondria. So fat or carbohydrates, also known as glucose, they come into the mitochondria. They go through glycolysis or cellular respiration, or the Krebs cycle, or fatty acid oxidation. All these different biochemical reactions are known or by different names. They're occurring in our mitochondria. We put fuel into the engine, into the powerhouse, and we get energy out. That's what our mitochondria are designed to do. Well, it just so happens that process is very reactive. It requires electrons, and we have electron transport molecules inside of the mitochondria. For example, our coenzyme Q10. And each of these ingredients in the cellular energy blend are included to support our mitochondria in producing energy in the cell. So that's why we've included these extracts. Now, what about longevity, right? We've been talking about protecting the cellular health. We've this is all in the context of lifelong vitality. We want to have lifelong vitality. We want to prevent the wear and tear on our physical vehicles, our bodies, and certainly on our minds, right? We have one vehicle to get us through life. So we want to protect our bodies, we want to protect our minds. And there's been some pretty interesting research, some pretty conclusive research that should demonstrate for you a high return on investment, a high value proposition that we should be consuming product like Alpha CRS, which is full of flavanol content. So 2,800 participants in this study over nearly 20 years. They're looking at the cognitive outcomes of participants who had the highest flavanol consumption. And they saw that they're at a much lower risk for cognitive decline over time. And this is certainly something that each of us would benefit from in being able to decrease our risk for cognitive decline over the years. And if it simply goes to consuming flavanols, which we have in Alpha CRS, in a proactive, preventative manner, then that is certainly a great return on investment. And that this is one of the reasons I love using Alpha CRS, actually. So these flavanols, there haven't always been such specific guidelines on the consumption of flavanols. We're familiar with recommended daily allowances, or RDAs, for vitamins and minerals and even macronutrients like proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. We even have recommendations for fatty acids. But there hasn't always been a widespread recognition for how much flavanol consumption people should have on a daily basis. And as the research has gone along and people recognize all the health benefits from flavanol consumption, they've come with a more recent recommendation of 400 to 600 milligrams of flavanol consumption for cognitive health, for cardiometabolic health. And so this is highly correlated to the flavanol content of our Alpha CRS product. And so we check this box and take advantage of these nutrients to provide these benefits when we consume Alpha CRS. Now, before we go into some questions and answers, if there are any questions on these products, you can be thinking about that. But I like to kind of wrap with this picture of an archway. And if I had this in presentation mode, and I could share that slide that way without messing this up, you'd see a complete arch before this arch collapsed. Utah, southern Utah in particular, is known for this beautiful landscape of sandstone that has been eroded over years to create these beautiful archways. And on the one hand, the erosion is what created some of these most beautiful landscapes. But then when that landscape is not supported, you see what happens over time and that it has collapsed. And this is how it is with our health, right? If we are not proactive about maintaining our health and our wellness, then our own, health can collapse over time, and we can suffer, a decline in our quality of life, sometimes quite dramatically, and quite to our surprise. But some of the most efficient, effective ways, back to that World Bank statement, is to simply make sure that we are consuming the nutrients that our cells need, that our tissues and our organs need to stay healthy, that we don't wake up 20 years into the future and realize that we've neglected our health over all these years and now we're going to pay the consequences for it. So that's my encouragement for all of us, that we'll take advantage of these amazing products and live our best life. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I think we have 1 minute for questions. We do have to hop off before 11 because there's another team that's going to be using the Zoom call account. But let's maybe give time for 1 or 2 questions and then we'll hop off so that we can allow the other team to use that. Okay, I don't see any hands. Any questions? If you want to drop them in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. If not, then we'll have to end the call in just a couple minutes so that the other team can start theirs. Feel free to unmute or put your questions in the chat.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I was not able to unmute before, so I'm happy that it's unmuted. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. I have a question which I'm trying to find answer for the last 3 months. I have a client who had 1 year ago kidney stone removal. 1 year ago, and the doctor told him to little bit reduce on the consumption of vitamins, which make him very resistant to take LLV. So my recommendation was to start with 1 from each pack in the morning with the food and in the evening with 1 instead of 2, which is recommended. So still he is a little bit hesitant. So I wanted to check directly with you if he still can do it as a full 2 pills per from each box per day in the morning and in the evening.
Yeah, we do see this from time to time. People prefer to split a dose. Sometimes it makes it a little more convenient to use, 6 capsules, for example, and then you keep those levels sustained through the day instead of doing 1 single dose. If I'll split a dose in the morning and then a dose in the evening, commonly, and this keeps those levels sustained. When it comes to kidney stones, one of the things actually that people have asked about and explored is oxalate content. And this is one of the reasons we recommend supporting the microbiome, because much of the precursors to kidney stone formation, for example, can be helped with a healthy microbiome. So if we have a diversity of microbiome, we're supplementing with fibers, then those will help to break down the oxalate content and help to prevent the formation of those stones as well. And then, of course, staying hydrated will also help to support that. But if people have concern about one product in particular, maybe Microplex, or some people have with Alpha CRS, maybe they have a split dose with that or a half dose with that product in place. That's